All right, good morning, Gators. Since we have all of the snow, we are going to go ahead and get set up with our course so that you know where we're starting on day one and we can hit the ground running with content. Because our AP exam will come very, very quickly. And I know missing the first day of the semester is kind of weird, and usually that just pushes things back, but pushing things back would make you go faster. And I promise this will be the better situation if we just go ahead and brush up on our factoring and talk about some expectations for the course. So this slide is no longer super relevant because you're not going to find your seat, so get cozy with a cup of coffee or a nice warm drink on this snowy day, and let's talk about Precalculus. I'll start off by introducing myself. I am Miss Rogers. I believe everybody capable. I love to read, hike, climb, and craft and travel. I graduated from MC State and was in the Park Scholarships program, so if you have a question about that program or want to talk about it, I am happy to. I advise 2 clubs at Green Level, Speech and Debate and Public Health. Speech and Debate takes a little bit more of my time than Public Health does, and if you have any questions about those programs, I'm happy to connect you with their leadership team. I'm also getting married next September, so that's my fun fact of the year. 2025 will be a good one. Few things for our classroom procedures. Please expect to put your phone in the pocket chart every day. I'll let you know if there are exceptions, but that is the general expectation. Come in and find your seat quietly, look to the TV, and you'll find a warm-up typically, or me putting up a warm-up. At the end of class, do not line up at the door. It is extremely frustrating, and 30 seconds different, and it will be okay. So please remain near your seat. And the best way to not feel the temptation to line up at the door is to not stand up before 30 seconds to the bell. It's just not necessary. That being said, if you're near the door when the bell is close to ringing, the door will remain shut and latched until the bell actually leaves or rings. When you leave the room, not at the end of class, I have 2 passes on the wall and a little baby whiteboard next to it. When you want to leave the room, you ask me so that I know someone's leaving the room, because it's my job to keep you safe, and it's my job to know who's in the room and who's not in the room, and my brain is not good at storing that information, so we make it easy for me. So you'll grab the pass and you'll write your name on the little whiteboard next to the door, and when you come back, you will still have the pass in your hand, return it to the wall, and quickly swipe your name off that whiteboard. It's a pretty easy process, and it really helps me know who's out of the room, because even though you asked me 30 seconds ago, I still don't remember. That being said, my answer, can I go to the bathroom, is almost always yes, as long as there is a pass available. If 2 people are out, my answer is, can you wait until there's a pass back? If the answer is no, just let me know. Emergencies happen. But 97% of the time, that's a made-up statistic, you can ask me and you'll be able to go. That being said, because you basically, I'm not going to say no to you needing to use the restroom. That being said, please be responsible about the timing you choose. If you always only ask to go to the bathroom right as I ask the class to try an example, you don't get that vital practice. If you always go to the bathroom as soon as I start notes, you're always going to miss the very beginning of notes. So please use that time wisely. Maybe start the practice and then run to the restroom if you finish early. Think about going before class. Think about going after class. I know schedules are weird and sometimes you just got to, but please be mindful of time you're out of the room, because we move through a lot and we cover a lot of content, and if you're out of the room, you're missing things. That goes for absences too. Things you will need include a laptop or a Chromebook every day. There are days like these where unexpected stuff happens. And say, for example, I am sick unexpectedly and I have to be out. Your assignment will most likely be like today's video, and potentially a Delta Math, or some other online assignment. So it is always good to have a laptop or Chromebook with you. I don't care if it's your personal one or the school issued one, as long as you have a device with you. And headphones are a great thing, just in case you are watching a video. Again, The headphones are required, but they are very helpful when they are needed. Growth mindset. Be willing to struggle. Be willing to learn. And remember that AP Precalculus is very often the first math class where students who have always thrived in math start to struggle a little bit, and that is normal and okay. Believe in your ability to grow and let it make you a stronger mathematician. For notes, I do go between handing out guided notes and having you write your own handwritten notes, though we will have notes every day. So please have a system where you can keep that organized. I highly, highly, highly recommend it be a binder where you have some loose leaf paper when I ask you to take notes on your own paper, and switch to, but also be able to put in my 3-hole punched collate notes, right? So that you can keep that all in order. A singular folder is often a choice I see, and it is not sufficient for this course. There is too much paper, and that folder will be falling apart and unorganized. So that is not helpful for your study habits. TI-84 calculators are provided by the class set. You can use those in my classroom and nowhere else. They may not leave my classroom. College Board will provide on the AP exam an embedded Desmos calculator because your AP exam is hybrid. You'll answer MCQs online and then see the FRQ questions online and write your answers on paper. And for that entire test, not the entire test, but the entire calculator active sections, you should have access to an embedded Desmos calculator. It is the lower functionality version probably where you can't copy and paste. But I personally, when those screens are so tiny, because you do have to use the Chromebooks on those, I personally would appreciate having that extra calculator in my hand to be able to still see the question and all the answer choices in their full size and use my calculator at the same time. That's just me. Our final exam will be on paper and will only allow the TI-84. So I strongly, strongly suggest, or any calculator that would be allowed on an AP exam. That being said, if you have your personal that's not a TI, that's fine. Just let's double check it's approved. But please do get practice with the handheld calculators. There is a app called Calculate 84. It looks like this. That is a pretty good dupe. So if you have an iOS device, that is available. I am not aware of a great dupe on the Android App Store, so if anybody has any recommendations there, feel free to share them with me, and I will share them with you guys. All right, so I like to take a second to talk about course sequencing and remind you that after you have left Math 3, you have left the tree trunk of the branching tree of math course sequencing. It was always a clear 1, 2, 3, just a will I take academic or honors. And after Math 3, you have made a choice to enter AP level mathematics, which is a fantastic choice. I am really, really proud of you challenging yourself. That being said, it is a challenge that you have chosen. So if it gets hard, please remind yourself, I chose this, I want to do this. If you did not choose this and you do not want to do this, you got to talk to me about it early. Please let me know how you're feeling with this course. I love to have those conversations and be on the same page so that I can support you the best that I can. If you are lacking prerequisite skills, it is your job to acquire them independently. Unfortunately, I cannot be a tutor for 33 students at the same time. I can be a teacher, so I am going to provide all of the information and support that I can for you to use independently when you are studying beyond the class time. But let's use our class time wisely. And when I give you time to practice so that you have questions and you're asking me those questions. And we will always seek to understand why something works, so that we don't have to memorize quite so much. Yes, there will be memorization required in this course, but the more you understand, the easier the memorization gets. All right, so we've talked about how it's hard and you've signed up for that. Let's talk about how I support you in that challenge. Connectivity and lunch but especially connectivity are my places I can provide support. On Thursdays, I have a targeted math tutorial. That is a small group tutorial that if you have a D or an F in my class, I will require you to attend on Thursdays. That being said, if you need some time with me because you have math questions, anybody can be signed up for that tutorial upon request. So being in there does not mean you have a certain grade. It might mean, hey, I just want to come to your tutorial. So just let me know, because that is by request, and I will sign you up most days. If you run the risk, but if you show up and say, hey, can you add me to this connectivity? If you want to be in that connectivity, I want you to be there, right? So I will sign you up. That being said, if I have a large number of students working on retakes or corrections, it may be closed to those add-ons. So I strongly encourage you to ask me before the day of. General math tutorials are on Tuesdays, and that is anybody that wants to come in and be productive working on math and asking questions. Neither of these days I plan any additional activities. They are essentially study halls, but the targeted math tutorial is specifically a space for students who need to work on test recovery to make sure they are passing my class or not in danger of not passing the class. Let's see. Club days. I am the advisor for 2 clubs, and those take a good bit of my connectivity time. So please make note of when I'm available, which I'll show you how to see my availability in just a few moments. And make note of assessment days and say, hey, Ms. Rogers isn't going to be available the day of the assessment or the day before. If I want to ask her questions, I'm going to have to start my studying 2 days ahead of time, things like that. So think about the logistics of your study schedule. I'm occasionally open for lunch, but this one's kind of inconsistent. I'm never open on Mondays or Thursdays because those are days I have lunch duty. And the other days I may have a speech and debate leadership meeting occasionally. Like this next week, I have a leadership meeting on Wednesday, so I won't be open for lunch. If you need to find a time with me and my availability doesn't have it, we can definitely talk about trying to find a spot. But I am not open for lunch every day. When I am open for lunch, it is a productive working space where I'm available for questions, but I do have this nasty habit of forgetting to eat lunch when my door is open, so remind me to eat. All right, let's talk grading. I'll give you a second to absorb this slide. So we have 3 categories. We have minors, quizzes, and tests. Minors are low stakes progress checks. This is where homework grades go. You watching this video right now is part of a homework grade. Mostly calculator inactive. Honestly, all of our assessments are frequently calculator inactive. We will occasionally have calculator active assessments, and we will have the calculator in our hand practicing during the course, more than we necessarily assess on it in these high stakes assessments. And we'll talk more about that later. Quizzes are a little higher stakes than a progress check, but they are still lower stakes than a test. They go into that 30% category. They vary in question formats. They're typically 1 per unit, just your traditional quiz, right? Shorter than a test, half the class, sometimes as little as 20 minutes. And tests, 1 per unit. These are modeled after AP exam style questions, just shorter and unit focused. So Unit 1A will have MCQs and FRQs. Unit 1B will have MCQs and FRQs, multiple choice questions and free response questions. A lot of people ask, what does a free response question look like in math? It just looks like a normal test question. There's nothing too special about it. They're typically about a standardized length. On the AP exam, they are all 6 points no matter what, with basically 0 partial credit. There will be more partial credit on our tests because we want you to see that granular feedback, and we don't curve our tests for that reason. The AP exam is scaled and curved because of that lack of partial credit, because they understand that you might have worked none of the problem right. You might have worked most of the problem right. You might have worked all of the problem right until the very, very last step. But only the student that gets every single part of that answer right gets the 1 point. So that is why there is a big scale, because they don't offer partial credit to make the grading more efficient, because they grade thousands of those things. That being said, I will grade less than the AP graders, so I will do some more partial credit and try and give you that granular feedback so that we don't have to curve like that. So you should never expect a curve. It's not out of the question on a test, but please do not count on curves. It is, and don't talk to previous semester students about what's curved and what's not, because it has not. It has changed a little bit every semester. We change the tests a little bit every semester. So please don't expect things to be the same. Test recovery is an option for students who score below a 65 on a test. That is the only grade change, grade remediation opportunity I offer in this course. And when I say only, I mean only. If there is another grade inflation opportunity available, I will offer it to the entire class. Notably, like, you will know that there is an opportunity for you to do it. Please do not rely on test recovery. And if you are not a huge fan of your grade, if you're looking at that 89.4 and going, man, I'm close, I really want the A, it is not going to be me who makes that change. It's going to be you. So focus on your future assessments. I work very hard to make sure that your grades are accurate, and if there are mistakes, please let me know. But I do not offer grade bumps, rounding, curving. I'm getting a whole lot of emails at the end of the semester right now. Please note from the beginning, I don't do that. So the grade you earn is a reflection of your performance on assessments. These assessments are also timed. They are also, they are sometimes a little quick. That is usually the biggest adjustments for folks in AP Precalculus. So I encourage you to practice on a timer, to pick out 10 problems and make sure you can do them in 10 minutes. Things like that, okay? Resources in my room live on the bookshelf by the door. I have some things in addition available upon request. Just let me know. And digital resources will all be posted on Canvas. We will frequently go to Delta Math or like Bookit or one thing or another. Anytime there is an additional resource that we're using, it will be listed on Canvas that we're using it. So Canvas is your home page, and I keep Power School pretty updated. So please, please, please check your grades, be on top of it, and know where you're at so that you can set your goals accordingly. All right, so we're going to switch to Canvas really quick for a quick tour of, apologies for the delay, of our Canvas site. Momentary pause. Probably doesn't want to push while recording, but we'll get there. All right, so when we head to AP Precalculus for the spring of 25, I link all of the buttons you need on this home page. So if you would like, and I'll view this as a student just so we can see it the same way. If you want to hit these 3 parallel lines at the top left corner and just hide that side menu, I encourage it. You don't need it. I don't put anything in there that's important. Our first row of buttons are syllabus, student expectations, honor code, and resources. I'm going to give you a hard copy of the syllabus when we head back from snow. Hopefully that's tomorrow. Student expectations and honor code should be on every single Canvas page from all of your teachers. Please review those and be familiar with them. And the resources page is a super helpful landing page. Every time I have something to share with you, I post it here. Now every banner is a button, so if you click the words class resources, it's going to take you back to the home page. But let's check out what's on that page. So you can see my email, correctly spelled. You've already received an email from me. Connectivity is open on Tuesdays and small group on Thursdays. If you have a D or an F in my class, you are coming on Thursdays. I don't care if you are the president of whatever club. You're in my class on Thursdays, so get your grades up. You chose this. I will add those names as of the day before. So if you know your grade, you know you're invited to my connectivity. Check all timely. Let's see. I've compiled a list of all the YouTube videos that I find helpful. There are definitely more out there, but here's just a landing page, so that's a great spot to find help. Review prerequisite materials based on what College Board lists as prerequisite knowledge for the course. Teacher tutor list is something students ask me for frequently, so I post it here. And then you get to my weekly availability. If you click that, it'll take you to a Google Slides page where you can see, hey, Monday we didn't have school, Tuesday, teacher work day, Wednesday, it's a snow day. I'm going to update that. So we will not follow these availabilities. But if you see an X, you're not going to be able to get me in that time. I would have been open for lunch today. I am not. But you can see if school is in session tomorrow, we have an advisory, and I will have lunch duty, so I won't be open for lunch. But if you need me for a second, you could catch me before or after school. All right. Heading back to connectivity. There's a few more things here. The only two that I'll really mention are Delta Math and AP Classroom. You should be already in Delta Math if you're watching this video. And AP Classroom we will all get started with in probably a week or so. Now let's head back to our Unit 1A page. So I'm going to the home page and then clicking Unit 1A Function Theory. This is our current unit. And I may add some updates here when I post this video, but this is generally our outline, what we're expecting to cover each day. Our class notes will live in a OneNote notebook. So if you click the Class Notes button, it's going to open up a SharePoint. If it denies you access, please click the request access buttons, and it'll shoot me an email. You're welcome to shoot me an email as well to say, hey, Ms. Rogers, I couldn't get into the notebook. And I will grant you access, but as long as you're logged into your Wake ID portal recently, it should load no problem. All right, let's see. I believe that is everything in our main Canvas page that I'm going to cover. One last tip is that our calendar will show some assessment dates here. I'm going to leave student view for a second to show you an example from last semester. Let's see, you can see their final exams listed. But for example, the Unit 3C test, I posted the date there. And I didn't have a description on the Unit 3C test, but the Unit 3C quiz, I did have a description. The quiz will assess the student's ability to plot polar coordinates, graph polar curves, convert polar coordinates to rectangular form, or vice versa. That's great information for your studying time. So using that calendar feature is helpful, and it should also make those dates show up on your homepage, your course homepage, under Coming Up. Because those are not in this course, nothing's listed, but those dates will start to show up in that little spot when I add dates here. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the factoring video and the rest of your snow day.